for the administrator was Eric Shipman. He's our building principal. He covers the 4th through 8th grade. Our special education teacher, she's new this year, Greta Colbert. She came from the Bullard area. So she talks a little bit about how the Reno co-op worked a little bit, and then also how she's getting used to the new co-op partnership we're in here at Clearwater. And then our paraprofessional, also new to our building this year, is Amanda Jones. Asking about the child find procedure was our first question. Administration said that Eric thought that the staff needs to be aware of the procedures, and we all need to go over the paperwork for students that have moved in to our district. Or he also mentioned for me as a 7th grader, we should definitely look over the paperwork as it comes over from the 6th grade. Special education teacher Greta, she's not very familiar with the Sedgwick County procedures. Again, new this year. She was talking about how in Reno, a lot of the findings came before the kid was in 4th grade. They use medical diagnostics, screenings. I'm not going to read all that, but this is all the things that she gave me, and then included balance, coordination, fine motor skills, social skills, and listening skills. All things that they worked on to help diagnose and for child findings. And then she's hoping that Sedgwick County is similar to that, but she's trying to get her feet under her right now. As a paraprofessional, Amanda was not aware of what child finding procedures were. Next question was the most challenging part of their role. This is probably one of my favorite questions. Just kind of get, as a teacher myself and as a future administrator, hear what they have to say. Administration said that Eric thought the little control belonging to a co-op. I think he's had some frustration his first year with the co-op. Most of your administration stuff, you make a decision, you get to go with it, or you get a group of stakeholders, and you get to. And here, being part of a co-op, the decision's kind of out of our hands. We had a need earlier this year for an extra para, but we had to show the co-op that we needed one, and then time they hired somebody and then moved. It was kind of a disservice for the students, but we did end up getting one. I think that was frustrating for him as well. Then having no operational control. He didn't get to say where the money goes. That's up to the co-op. Special education teacher, her biggest thing and challenging role is the paperwork. There's so much required that many times, plenty of time is spent completing paperwork rather than planning lessons. I go into her room, we team teach a couple of classes together, and that's all she does is paperwork. So I can definitely see her frustration with that. And then also not having input on hiring paras. She can just tell or ask that we have a para, but the interview process, she gets what she gets. We've been lucky. Our paras at our building have been good, but if it's not, then not much we can do. The paraprofessional lack of technology. She was frustrated because a lot of the schools right now are going to one-on-one. We all are one-on-one Chromebooks, yet she doesn't have one. So when I give an assignment, say in math online or social studies or whatnot, she doesn't have access to it. So she's always constantly asking the kids to pull up their Chromebook, and she says that's frustrating. The most rewarding part for the students, parents, and teachers. Okay, for the administration, Eric felt that he had contact with the parents and was able to gain their trust with our students that are identified. He's constantly making phone calls, emails, parent contacts in person. He's always seeing and being around them and getting to know them. And he think that he likes that part. Whereas general ed parents, if they're not a discipline problem, he doesn't get to see much of them. So that's a benefit there. Special ed teacher Greta thought that she loves the aha moments, and being able to have all of her students in my classroom now. She's absolutely right. The aha moments to them are just amazing. We've done a lot with goals, and she has as well. And when a kid meets a goal and how they feel about themselves is empowering. And also, she says that being able to work hand in hand with the teachers, the parents, to ensure the student success is rewarding as well. Amanda thought, our paraprofessional, thought that kids generally appreciate the help that she gives. She helps everybody, but she really feels that the the kids that the special ed department really want her to be there, and she enjoys that, and she enjoys being around the teachers here that are supportive. What advice do you have on supervision of special education for the staff? Eric said to understanding and getting to know the staff is important. He's disappointed that sometimes that our staff revolves year to year. We've had a big turnover rate on our paras are moved. We just lost our longtime special ed teacher, Clint, but we placed with Greta. That's just a change. It's a good change, but it's just something that happens quite often. And being organized is hard to reach it. Big organization, so he had trouble with. I don't want to say trouble is the right word, but he's been in contact with the co-op, and being that we're kind of a smaller district in their co-op, sometimes he feels like that's hard to get in contact with them right away. They always do get back, but it might not be on the time frame that he's after. Greta said communication is key. Important to give clear expectations, model the interactions, and be aware of challenging behaviors. She said that some advice would be that the general ed teachers work closely with the special ed teachers, embrace the supervisor role while parents are in the classroom. Explain to them why it's important that they're doing their part in the classroom for the parents, and be that person that they look up to and ask questions, and not always have to just run to the special ed teacher. And Amanda didn't have any advice at this point. How do you work effectively with parents of special needs students? This had a lot of similarities. Eric said that you just have to listen to the parents, listen to their concerns, and explain to them. If you met with them and you built their trust, it's easier to talk to them. Always make sure that they understand their rights during the process, and again, building trust through all that. Greta said the same thing, building a trust that, we always start our meetings that we're always trying to do the best for your student. You might not always like that, but if we built that trust, at least they're open to understanding we can have that dialogue. We always need to know that the parents know their students best. They're the ones that spend the time with them and raised them. We get in 7th grade, we get them for a year, and that's it. But they've been with them for up till then. So we do a lot. She said we do a lot with acronyms, and we use those, like the IEPs. But sometimes we just don't know what they mean. So we need to explain to the language and the parents understand. And our paraprofessional said that although she has a student with needs, she doesn't work with the parents, so she doesn't really have any input on that one either. Okay, so how do we work with the teachers who have special needs students in the classroom? Eric said that one of the main things we need to do is develop the IEPs together, and then to go over the accommodations, make sure we understand what the accommodations mean and that are written into their plan. And then we also definitely need to help students with the needs. Sometimes he felt that some of the teachers let the parents deal with those students, and the teachers need to actually do more with them than the parents, so work with them in the classroom. Greta thought for a special education teacher that we needed to have more input on the IEPs. We have informal meetings quite often in our team time on these concerns. We need to have a copy of the accommodations and modifications so we know what we need to do, and we need to support our parents in the classroom. And then Amanda, our para, said that she would like a copy of the lessons so she can help with them, and that kind of goes back to the Chromebook thing. Even though she doesn't have a Chromebook, she'd like to know what they're doing. And then remind students to the due dates and organization. She felt that was a huge part of her job, was to just help the kids with organization and make sure their assignments are turned in on time. First year administrator Shipman, Eric, said that know who to ask for help. He said that he knows that there's a few things that he just doesn't know, and he needs to know who to ask for help. That's part of the co-op or part of experienced administration. The communication is key there, and then stay compliant. Always know what we need to be doing and stay compliant with it. Greta said, know your school's psych. That they're huge. They've been around. They know the ins and outs of the rules and whatnot. They're useful for knowledge and resources. Again, communication is key to this. And if you're not sure, find out. Don't just guess. Don't just go with what you think. Find out the actual answer. Paraprofessionals, Amanda said that she would have advice from the administrator to be to treat them as a person, as an important staff member. Okay. How do you describe the role of special education teacher in the principal administration? Says it's important. It's an important role. We manage the IEP timelines, and we have to help manage the paperwork, um, and get a hold of the parents if we need be. All these things are under our role as special ed teacher. Greta said she's the use resources for the meeting. Um, she's a case manager for interventions if need be. The principal is also the liaison between the district and the co-op. So we're the kind of the go-between, making sure everything's covered by the co-op. If we need the co-op staff there, then make sure we come up with a time that everybody can be available for the meeting. The paraprofessional, Amanda said, she considers SPED teachers her supervisors, and the principals are the supervisors of the teachers. So there's a role there. She reports more to the special ed teacher, and teachers report to the principal. All right, last one. What characteristics do you seek in aspiring administrators? Um, the characteristics that Eric said is you have to be understanding, you have to be patient, both with student and with teachers, with the parents. Um, behavior issues, if you run across those, you have to be the calming influence. Um, move that over to, let's go up here. Special ed teacher said we need to be open-minded during these situations. We need to have a love for all kids, and that believes in the equity of resources, using whatever resources we need to fit the educational style of that student. Paraprofessional said we need to have a value team building where everybody's a part. After reading some of her answers and going through it, kind of seems that maybe we're not doing the best with that at our school. It's something we can improve on, or because of the way she answered some of these questions. So something definitely to look into and be aware of in the future. And the behavior issues, sometimes we need to think about the why a kid's acting that way or did what they did instead of the what. Sometimes we jump to what the punishment's going to be, and we don't really understand the why. And we also need to value the pairs in the classroom. The reflection from this assignment, over and over and over again, we heard that communication from everyone is involved. I think our parents striving for communication from the teachers, and we need to. And then both Eric and Greta said that communication with the parents is important. So that's got to be key. We always have to remember that the child must come first. We must tell the parents that we understand that the child comes first, and we keep that up front right away. Must know the law and regulations. Now, there's going to be times that our administrators won't know the laws and regulations. That's why we have to have that communication, be able to contact somebody that does, so we make sure we're compliant. Then work hard to get better at understanding these regulations and be prepared to do my part. I know I struggle with them. I've been in meetings before, and I just don't know the answers or understand what they're saying. So that's something that I need to do a good job of. So when I become administrator, that I get that I'm able to help lead the process. So, yep, that's my presentation. Thanks for listening.